Oh, we could fly.
This is your summer. That means Six Flags and the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola. We're talking thrilling coasters, delicious burgers, real moments together, and this. Coke is summer refreshment when you need it most, so you can hop on another ride or race down a slide at the water park. Six Flags and Coca-Cola. Come make it yours. Visit sixflags.com/Coke to save up to $20 on passes, plus daily tickets starting at $34.99.
Welcome to the Unscripted podcast. My name's Corby LaCroix, and the song you're hearing right now is called Great and Mighty One, available on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your music. But for now, recording from the Unscripted studio in Old Hilliard, here's your host and my friend, Aaron Conrad.
All right, everybody, welcome to Unscripted from my studios at the Junction in Old Hilliard. And Corby, thank you for the intro on audio as always. Man, I'm really excited. I swear I say that at the beginning of every episode, but if you all knew the background with my guest today and the amount of calls and text that we have shared, if you're a fan of Unscripted or my Unscripted, y'all need to be a fan of my guest today. I'll let you introduce yourself and we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's super fun to be here, man, and it's been fun to get to know you. I don't even know when our first call was. Like,
no idea.
I don't know, 6 months ago, something like
All
that.
right. Yeah, June, I think.
And it's just been cool to see you pursue a dream. So I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit in the episode. But anyways, my name's Austin Savage. I am the founder of a content marketing agency, very similar in many ways to what you guys do at Unscripted. But anyways, we manage things like podcasts, blogs, social media, email, and it is a whole lot of fun doing it. So I've been telling stories my whole life. Back when I was a kid, I would make videos and like music and stories and blogs and all that stuff. And it's been cool just throughout life to kind of figure out that, hey, you can actually like do that and make a living off of it and help other people tell their stories. And so that's kind of what I get to do today. So that's the quick version.
Perfect. So we met because of a client that we work with also called RachelWojo.com.
Yeah.
Plug. But a client that we work with, she knows your mom, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
Is that right? Right?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? I think my mom like hung out at her house for like 2 days or something.
And
I have not had the opportunity to meet her yet. But I've heard great things from you and from my mom as well. So
she's wonderful, and I'm blessed to know her personally long before all of this, literally all of this. And she reached out to me and said, "You need to reach out to this guy named Austin." And so to kind of set the stage for this audience. The two people that listen.
Three now, I'll listen to it. So
there you go. So, we met because I was in a season of trying to figure out, should I launch this? I've had this podcast. It's done okay. I've got 2 or 3 people that listen. I get this call from a friend of mine, and she tells me, you have to meet this guy named Austin. And so I make a phone call, blind phone call, or I'm sorry, I made a text. I sent you a text, I believe. I don't remember, email, text, whatever it was.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Something. I reach out to you and I say, hey, introduce myself. And man, you were kind enough to get on a call that night. Yeah. That night, I think we spoke for an hour. And literally, you and I talked to pregame before this. As I told you this story, I talked to 2 people as I was making this decision to launch my Unscripted. 2 people that wouldn't just tell me what I wanted to hear, but tell me what they thought. You were one of those 2 people, and you invested an hour in my life. We laughed a little bit in your introduction because our website looks a lot like yours. And so my web guy, when I pointed to Nick, shout out Nick, he's amazing. But when I told Nick what I wanted for my website, I pointed him to yours, and he did a fantastic job, maybe too good of a job
Yeah.
of somewhat copying your website. No, so we are brothers, man. And what I love is that you and I can get on here and chop it up, and we're in the same space, but we're not competitors. I mean, I don't. Matter of fact, we talked about potential bigger opportunities in the past. Anyway, that's my introduction to you. Is I want this audience to know that you and I have been in conversation. You have been a mentor to me, regardless of age, regardless of the space, the sandbox that we both play in. Man, you have mentored me on multiple occasions, and I appreciate you, man. I really do. And so I wanted people to know that as we have our discussion today. This is who Austin is, and he's a fantastic, wonderful person, and I'm blessed to know you, man.
Yeah, well, those words mean a lot to me, man, and it's been interesting. So I started my business a little over a year ago for what I've been doing, and there was a long build up to that, like in my own life, but it was just so cool to kind of see that there was this moment where it was like the switch flipped for me, where I was like, okay, I need to stop just like thinking about this and start like actually doing it, because this is the dream that's actually in my heart. Like this is what I feel like, especially for this next season, like this is what I need to be doing, what I feel like my purpose is. And it's been interesting because even before you called me, I probably had 2-3 other conversations with people in the exact same spot where it was like, they saw me start my business and they were like, hey, I want to pick your brain. Or they were like, hey, seeing you start your business inspired me to finally start my own, the one that I've been thinking about. And so when you called me, I was like, this is just such another like cool opportunity to just like help someone see that this is not crazy, right? Like, because I know for you at that point, it was like, okay, I either go all in on this and run with it,
right?
Or, I get a somewhat safe job and I kind of like do that for a little while until it feels a little bit more realistic. And it was fun to have that conversation with you and just to be like, dude, you can do it. You can pursue your dream. Like there is so much potential ahead. And, I'm sure that you've already kind of seen that unfold of not only what's already happened, but just what can happen in the future when we're just willing to say yes to our dream. So I think that's awesome.
Well, and really, really quick footnote. They're doing some work. You and I are both in our basements, or we are in places in our house because that's what we do. That's where we're at. So if we hear jackhammering in the background, that's because they're working on Austin's bathroom.
Yes,
so.
It was kind of funny getting this interview scheduled because last time we had like someone, they were like, they're going to cut power to the building. And then we're like, okay, we have to stop. And then today I was like, hey, they're jackhammering in my home and I did not know.
So we should have a hashtag content creation problems.
Yes. Hey, but this is real life. Honestly, this is the kind of stuff though that like it's real, and it doesn't need to stop you from creating content just because life is happening around you. So
100%,
little tidbit.
Right, and I think you and I can laugh about this because this is what we do. But most people show up to work, and you got COVID and masks and vaccine mandates, and we're not here to talk about that. But man, your problem. John Mayer said it best. You better take your so-called problems and put them in quotations. And so I think our problems are different. Totally. Content creation problems, working out of your basement, working out of your home, scheduling your day. You and I could probably
they're good problems to have, I would say.
For you and I, yes. I think the big thing we want to say, I think point number one, if people are taking notes, which the two people listening to me might do, I don't know. But if you're taking notes, number one, know that there's going to be obstacles. There'll be changes. Yeah. There'll be bathrooms that need to be renovated. There will be power that will need to be cut to the building that you're recording from, whatever it might be. But man, I think the thing I want to say is, and I think you agree, boy, those problems, again, air quotes, man, if that's my worst problem compared to things I've done in the past, I'll take it every day. Every day.
Yeah, the ones that you highlighted are obviously like silly problems. Right. It's like yes, we are paying to get our bathroom renovated, so like obviously they are going to jackhammer out the floor, and that's a good thing. but on a greater scale, and to kind of connect it back to the dream, short little conversation, is like there's gonna be problems like along the way, right? There's gonna be challenges, there's gonna be hard decisions or frustrations, things like that. But that doesn't mean that like your decision was wrong to do those things, right? Like that is just an opportunity to get creative, to come up with new solutions, to adjust goals, to set new goals, whatever it is. And those things don't have to like stop us, right? Like they can just be, it's an obstacle. We'll call it what it is. But it's just another opportunity to, see what happens, right? Like to see the new journey that we have to take as a result. So I do think a lot of times like people get caught up with that where it just feels overwhelming or too much, or, like the list goes on.
Hey everyone, my name is Cammie Pranel and I'm the Executive Director for My Unscripted. We hope you are enjoying today's interview. My Unscripted is dedicated to helping others find their voice, passion, and follow their dreams. Our team can help create websites, apps, YouTube channels, podcasts, media, and social content. Whatever your passion and vision, we can help. Our good friend Manny Ahome of Samaritan's Feet once said, "Make sure your dreams and goals are big enough to create room for others to join you." We've created room for you to join us too. Find out more at myunscripted.com. Now let's join Aaron for the second half of today's interview.
Let's tell everybody about Austin, because I've modeled so much of what you've done and followed your mentorship. And why would I do that? Why don't we tell your story, and that will be helpful, I think, for people.
I come from a ministry family, actually. So my mom was the CEO. She started a national ministry called Hearts at Home. And my dad was a small church pastor. And so I feel like that kind of just like influenced a lot of my growing up years of just being involved. Honestly, the influence I feel like it had on me was just being involved in some really cool things. Like from a very early age, like, my mom's ministry would have these conferences with thousands of women, and I would get to kind of like show up and get to support on them and see how those things happen. And at the same time, like my mom was writing books and, all of this stuff. And so I feel like just, it was almost instilled in me of like these principles of like people want to connect with you, and people will connect with you if you're creating things for them to relate with. Like the same thing in seeing my dad as a pastor, like seeing the messages he would write and, the way that he would connect with that church community. And so I was just always curious about it. And so kind of fast forward through college, went to college in Chicago, and then got an internship at a company called the Unstuck Group. And they helped churches with strategic planning. And kind of in college, I went to a Bible college, but I never wanted to like work in the church. Like that was just never I just didn't have that dream, but I didn't know where else like I could use, my passions. And it was really interesting because that really just kind of was the first time I saw like something that I thought was really, really cool. Like it was, their ministry was all about leadership and about strategy and about intentionality and about like community research, that kind of stuff, and how those things can play into a ministry. And it was the first time that I actually heard the term content marketing. And it really just put like skin on the bones of this passion that I had, right? Because I was like, okay, finally, I love to tell stories. Here's how I tell stories to actually make a difference in an organization or for churches or for ministries or for whatever. And it was just really, really exciting. And so I really, really thought that the Unstuck Group was going to hire me. I did a year-long internship with them and got to the end of it about a month before I graduated and got married to my wife, Larissa. And they didn't. And so like a month out, I was like, oh, crap. Like, I don't have a job. Not sure what I'm going to do. And kind of just like really cool story, but just got to start a ministry, basically. I got a connection from people at the Unstuck Group to work with a ministry called 95 Network that supported the 95% of churches under 500 in average attendance. And through that, like this ministry was basically like changing hands, and it was the coolest thing because right out of college, I was basically like handed the keys to take this from where it was and to just run with it and build it to the vision that me and the team had. And so I did that. Like straight out of college, I was like making financial decisions for a nonprofit. I was, like marketing this and building a brand and creating content, like crazy amounts of content that we were doing just to connect people to the brand. And I saw it work. Like it was really cool because this was a Illinois-based nonprofit previously. And over the 3 years that I was there, we took it to a national level and in some ways an even international level. And so at the end of that, I just started to remember kind of this dream that I had had for a long time, even back in college, to someday own a content marketing agency of my own. But I always, I'm 25, so I always was like, oh, I'm too young. Like I should probably do that when I actually understand business or when I have enough experience that people will take me seriously. And just with like, maybe it was the way the world went. Maybe it was, other circumstances around, but I just finally got to the place where I was like, let's just do it. Like, let's just see what happens. Yeah. And it was the coolest thing once. So this was the end of 2020 that I was like, all right, let's make it happen. And it was so cool. Like these relationships that I had built up over the past 3 years, especially through that ministry, all of a sudden, like, people had come to trust me and to trust what I brought to the table. And, they started, they reached out to me. They were like, I want to work with you. And it was so cool to see that and just very encouraging to me. And so that's the journey I'm on now of just like helping people tell those stories in meaningful ways. And it is so cool because we get to work with today. And this is what I love about my business is we have, giant corporate companies that we work with. We're working with companies that sell furniture to libraries or companies that create technology for farmers. But at the same time, then we're working with foster care ministries, or we're working with, we have a biblical counseling ministry we're designing a website for right now. And the list goes on where we're just like all over the place with nonprofits and businesses and entrepreneurs who like are just starting their dream and all of that. And we get to just take principles from each of those areas and apply them everywhere. And it's really, really rewarding. So
it's huge. I remember you said this to me when you told me your story. It was, hey, we started with one client and then another and another. Yeah. And it, for you, your trajectory I tend to be all gas and no brakes. Mm-hmm. Your trajectory was, and you and I have exchanged texts, just, in full transparency. You and I have exchanged texts because I have someone that invested. And I said, did you have an investor? Did you have capital? I like how you've done your business, as I understand it. Mm-hmm. You let the capital come through the business versus someone coming in with a big check. Yeah. And when you got big enough, you hired an assistant, and you grew organically, and that's what I loved about it. I'll never forget you saying this, that the clients just started stacking on top of one another to get to a place where you said, okay, this is a viable business now. Yeah. It's not just, hey, doing a favor for a friend for a quick check. They didn't just PayPal you, which probably happened in the early days because that's totally. That's how we do our. That's what we do, yeah. Right? But I think one of the things that really really struck home with me was I had this client and you just start stacking them. Mm-hmm. Stacking was the word that I really remember, and I think that was you that said that. Those start applying on top of one another, and before you know it, you're like, you know what, there's something here. Yeah. And that's why I really wanted to have you on today, so you could share the story you just shared, because you shared that with me and it inspired me. I get that you and I both live in this world. Your phone, I guarantee you, I bet if I had, I'm not a betting man, but I bet your phone today probably has a text from someone, or somewhere in your social sphere. Yeah. There's a DM or a LinkedIn message or a Facebook message that says, man, your stories inspired me, or please tell me more. Because I know I got that in my phone. Yeah. And I got that in my phone because I followed your advice, your leadership, your mentorship in my life. And there's not a day that goes by where someone doesn't text me and say, I heard a podcast, I saw a video, I watched the thing, I was on your website. Is that fair to say? I bet you probably have something in your phone today.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I mean, we have, especially on the client level, I mean, it's still like we get people who are just like, okay, either I need this or I find this compelling or tell me more. And, I would say definitely like once a month throughout this whole kind of journey, I do get those texts where it's like, I think I could do something like that too. Or I think I could, and it's not the same thing, right? But it's interesting, and I want to circle back to kind of what you just highlighted, but I feel like, so we've had so many discovery calls with potential clients, and especially the majority of people we talk to are entrepreneurs who are either in the idea stage or just the early kind of like creation stage development. And I think the most consistent barrier that we hear is insecurity. Like people come and they talk to us and they're like, here's what we hear. We hear nobody wants to see me on camera. Like nobody wants to actually hear me talk about this. Nobody probably cares about this business or about this idea. And I don't know if I'm really the person who has what it takes to do this stuff. And I think the biggest honor of what we get to do is when we get to look at them, over Zoom or whatever, and just say, none of that is true. Like none of that is true. People absolutely care about your dream. People absolutely want to support you and see your dream, become reality. And you do have what it takes. Like that dream is not just in your heart to taunt you or to just be a frustration to you. Like it is there because it's you. Like that is something that you actually care about and want to see happen for whatever reason, right? It's a different reason than me. You started Unscripted for a different reason than I started Savage Content Collective, and the list goes on. It's unique to everybody. But it breaks my heart to see so many people limiting themselves based on a negative perspective of not only the world around them, but also of themselves. And so to kind of come back to what you were saying, I think that is absolutely the power of content on two levels. Is one, it's the power of trust, because when you're sharing content, people are able to build trust with you. They are able to just connect with you or your brand, and they are building that trust with you to either take a step with your organization, right? Like for me, for a client to come on, or to reach out and say, hey, I really respect what you're doing, and I would love your opinion on what I'm starting, or I would love to do something similar, and I just wanted you to know that you inspired me. And then on the other side, it's just the power of being open about sharing your story. Like there are so many people who are curious or just on the edge of that like next step of, that's where you were. You were like, you knew it. You knew it deep down. You were like, I know that I need to start this. But you just like needed someone who was like, hey, you've done it. Can you just tell me that it's going to be okay too?
It's going to be okay.
And that's it. It is just so cool. So that's just like really, when it gets down to it, that's the cool part about the time that we live in today, is it is so easy to share your story and for that to be impactful to other people, way easier than it's ever been. Like technology can have its frustrations and its letdowns on a cultural level, but it also has some really, really cool rewards that just like have a ripple effect throughout culture, I would say. And then it just makes it so easy to build trust. And those two things kind of, when they meet up together, like that's when some really cool stuff happens.
I love what you said. Think about this. When you and I get to meet with someone, as you said, a discovery call or just, around a cup of coffee. Yeah. And we see it, they see it. They just are scared. Yeah. And my thought as you were saying that was imagine how God feels, because we're people of faith. Imagine how God feels when he knows. I mean, I'm a dad. I have 3 kids. I know I as a dad, I can see the ability and the giftedness of my kids, sports, creativity, you name it. We know, man, they are made for this, God sees us in the same way. And imagine God, because he does know that cup of coffee in that cafe that day when somebody says, man, I feel like I'm really supposed to do this. Yeah, you are. Yeah. Like, and it's just, Carrie Job, not a plug, said it when I interviewed her. If I'm going to say I have faith over fear, I have to believe that, or otherwise it means nothing. Yeah. That was such a powerful statement to me. we can say it. We can all go to church on Sundays. Oh, I have faith over fear. Do you? Because if you do, then act on it. And look, I'm 6 months into this journey. You're further down the road, but it took people and truth tellers. So I think anybody listening to this, if you're having a cup of coffee with someone and they're, man, encourage them. If you see it in their life, even if you're not a business owner, if you just are having lunch with a friend and they say, I think I want to do this, and that they were made for that, man, encourage that, put wind in those sails, fan that flame, because I'm telling you, it'll make all the difference in their life. So let me ask you this. Content creation. It's so funny. I swear, you and I talked last week. I'm going to do some rebranding myself because we're going to be a collective. We're going to be a collective. And I swear, I did not follow you on this, but because of the things that we're starting to get our hands in, there's a lot of conversations, a lot of things. It's not just content creation, but that being said, content creation is kind of a big word. It's a broad brush. Can you help people understand what is content creation? So when somebody says, okay, you do content creation, what is that? What is that? Because I know what you do, and I have shared a lot of that. You do an exceptional job, which is why I follow a lot of what you do. What's content creation? What is that?
Well, it's different for everybody, right? So the content is any it's words or images or videos or sounds, right? That you are putting, digital content especially, that you are putting on the internet for people to see. And so, for example, like this, what we're doing right now, this is content, right? It's video content and it's audio content. And the word, you put this every episode on your website with a little description. And so that is, written content for people to consume as well. And really, so when we talk about content creation, I mean, honestly, that's the backbone of brands today, is like the content that they are creating. And just there's the work you're doing, and then there's both the narrative you're telling about that work, and then just the value that you're adding to people. And so those two buckets are usually what content is created about, of, hey, I have some tips for you today. Here's some extra help. Here's positioning yourself as an expert, basically. Or, hey, we have some really cool stuff happening in our business or organization, and we want you to know about it. And those two things working together. And so content creation could be writing a blog. It could be writing an email and sending it. It could be it's even just one-on-one emails. That is content. It could be things that you post on social media. It could be videos you make. It can be, the list goes on. So internally in our company, we have a podcast called Marketing Should Be Fun. And we, are just sharing conversations. It's just me and my business partner who are just talking about business and life and Christmas trees and whatever. And then we, I also have a YouTube channel, and that is a different type of content where I try to create shorter videos that are just quick tips of hey, these are some content marketing tips that you can utilize in your organization, and posting things on social to just encourage people and just really become an encouraging voice in people's journeys. And each of those things, on the base level, I do it because it's fun for me and I know it helps people. But I also know that in 3 years, if I can stay consistent with that our brand as a company will solidify in the ways that I want it to, because we are now becoming the voice of, we're experts in content marketing, but even more than that, we love to encourage people on their journey. And I want people to reach out to us because they know those two things to be true, and they're curious about how those two things can help them. And anybody who doesn't end up reaching out, they're just getting that extra value and encouragement on their journey nevertheless. Right. And so that's the value that content creation has for everybody listening as well. You have a story that you want to tell with your life and with your business, and you have value that you can add to people. And when you actually start doing that outside of what people have to pay for or people have to give for or people whatever, then you start building your brand and you start building trust. And that's how this strong community, the strong brand is built around what you're doing. So I probably went too detailed there, but that's kind of what content creation is.
No, it's fantastic because I think people see, oh, content creation company. We know, but we don't know the details of that. And so I'm glad you went through that because I want to go through all your links and I want to make sure we share that with the audience. Because honestly, if you're listening to this and you want to give Austin your business because without Austin, I don't exist. My Unscripted doesn't exist. So give him your business. We're not here to compete. And I literally, we are in the same sandbox, but you're in Illinois, I'm in Ohio. It really is about relationships. But if someone wants to develop a relationship with Austin and what he's doing, please do that because he's further down the highway than I am. I'm totally cool with that because I know you're going to be in great hands. And that's ultimately my heartbeat is I want to make sure that people are achieving whatever their goal is, whatever their dream is. So let's go, because you're putting content out, to use the word again. You've put great stuff out. There's some YouTube videos out there that I've shared because they impacted me as a fellow owner, as a fellow founder, as a fellow content guy. It was night before last. You're on TikTok.
Oh, did you see that one?
I did, and I followed you on TikTok. We follow each other on Twitter and Instagram and all the other places. Why don't you give all those links? So if anybody's listening to this, first place is probably the website. But all the places that you guys are and where they can find your valuable information, because you've shared that with me. I know I see it, but where can people find you? Let's start with the website.
Yeah, like what you said, website is the easiest place to go. So it's savagecontent.co, not .com. There's no M at the end, just .co. I have to explain that every single time.
Right.
But anyways, that's really the hub of everything. Like there you can see some of what we're doing. You can also like listen to our podcast there, find all the links to our podcast. There's a little button up top. And those are just fun conversations. Honestly, the first 10 minutes of every episode is just us like chatting about whatever.
I love it.
But it's kind of fun. Honestly, the other two places, if you're on social a lot, would be to follow me and my company on Instagram as well. So my company is savagecontent.co on Instagram as well. And then you can find me at Austin_Savage. And there you'll see posts about my kids, about my family, but also just some encouraging like stuff to you just as a human living life. If you just need some random pep talks, that's what I'm trying to do more of in that space moving forward. So those are the big ones, I'd say.
And you do have some YouTube content as well, correct?
Yes. Yeah, you can get the link there on our website as well to my YouTube channel. I'm still building it. This is the cool thing is like, on YouTube, I have 40, 50 subscribers. I don't even know. And It doesn't matter. Like I feel like that's a thing for people too, is like, they're like, I don't have an audience. And I'm like, well, you're never going to have one unless you start creating. Like it doesn't matter if you have 150 followers on Instagram or whatever. Like you don't need to have a bunch. Like I have built a very strong business in my first year off of 800 followers on Instagram who are just friends, and off of a YouTube channel with 40 people who subscribe to me. And it's okay, because if you were sitting in a room with 40 people who were listening to you, you would call that a huge success. But when we have 40 people who watch a video, we're like, man, like that one didn't connect. So it's just this narrative that needs to be flipped. So anyways, that's a short little tangent.
Oh, I think it's great. I mean, I think that's what you and I, when we meet with someone, I think, we play in this world every day. And so to us, it's like if I take my car to the mechanic, man, I don't even an oil change, I don't even know where it's, and they're like, pull it in bay one, I'm good. Boom, boom, boom. They're done. We're out in 15 minutes. And that's how God gifted that person that, or through their life experiences, that's what they learned was how to do that. I don't want to say I'm an expert in that by any means. I think, you are, but at the same time, this is what we do all day long. And so don't be embarrassed to come in. I'm going to take my taxes to the local accountant at the end of this, in a few days, and I'm going to hand them this file. That's what they do. Right. That's how God gifted them. That they love doing that because that's how God gifted them. God gave each one of us specific gifts and things that we love to do. And that's what we get to do this every day.
Yeah.
You know, I get to sit down with someone and have them say, I want to start a podcast. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm here for you. What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? What's your audience? All those things. I want to get a YouTube channel. Okay, awesome. We work with, not a plug. We work with Cooking with CJ, who's got 77,000 subscribers on YouTube.
That's awesome.
He knows how to build a YouTube channel, and he does what he loves to do, and that's cook.
Yeah.
Like how fun is our life? I mean that and again, last week we got canceled because of a power outage when we were supposed to record. My dog was barking during my first episode today. You're getting your bathroom renovated right now. We're both probably in our basement or some room in our house right now. But I still love what I get to do because, man, compared to what I could be doing, man, I love what I get to do. And I know I don't want to speak for you, but I want to help others do the same thing.
Yeah.
I want to help them find that niche. What is it that God created you to do, and go do it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I really think it starts on how we view ourselves. And that is just something that it was important to me a year ago, and it's like really important to me now. As I'm talking to people, like I would much rather talk to people about their perspectives of themselves than even talk to them about podcasting and videos half the time, because it does have this ripple effect once we realize, like you were saying, that we are gifted, like we have potential. We can literally change, like each of the people listening to this podcast can literally change the world if you want to. And that doesn't have to be big. It can be if you want it to, but it can just be focusing on changing, a section of the world or whatever. But you have the power to do that. And what that means for you is unique. But once we're able to just like be honest with ourselves about this is what I feel like I am called to do or gifted to do, and I really want to pursue it. And then we break through that kind of mental barrier of, and I actually think that I can.
Right.
Then that's when the cool stuff happens. Because it's like, then all of a sudden, with Unscripted, you start building connections with people in your community. You get other people who see what you're doing, and you're like, and they're just like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like we're not at a place to support you now, but we just want you to know that this is awesome. And whenever we can, have like when we have a bigger marketing budget or whatever, you're the first call. And it's like, it's just fun to do that and to live in what you're passionate about. And that's what life's about. Like you get one, right? Like this is the one that we're living and that we get to do really cool things with. And so we don't have to be stuck in something that feels safe or that feels even boring to us just because of this kind of like feeling of our comfort zone, right? Like we have the opportunity to live doing what we want to do and to just see some crazy stuff that you never would have thought happen just by saying yes to what we're gifted at. And so I really, that's like a big thing. Like I tell, honestly, like most of our entrepreneurial clients, like I tell them to like make this like a list of affirmations so that they can just like every morning be like, I am great at this. I really want to see this happen with my life. I am not defined by the opinions of other people or, by my success or unsuccess by my terms or whatever it is. Because when you kind of start to just internalize those truths, like you just get so much more momentum on that journey. So, sorry, rant over.
No, I love these rants. I hope people that listening, I think people that listening will also love these rants. I hope, because the other thing I would say is a little asterisk disclaimer. I'm blessed. My wife has a full-time job. My wife has benefits through her full-time job. Yeah. So before someone walks out of the office today, walks into their boss and say, I'm out, I'm going to go start my own business. Hey, let's press pause.
For sure.
Be intentional. A little asterisk. My wife, thankfully, has a wonderful job with a wonderful company that has wonderful benefits. Yeah. That has given me some runway. Honestly, I stumbled across mine. I started a podcast during a pandemic because I was bored.
Exactly.
And honestly, that's how sometimes this stuff happens. Is you might not even know your gift yet. Yeah. You're half my age, Austin. I'm 25 miles down the freeway further than you are, and I have just stumbled on this. And to your point, enough people tell you you're really good at that. You should do that. And I'm not saying I'm really good at that. I'm the most self-deprecating person you will ever meet.
We'll talk about that after the podcast. It's fine.
We'll talk about that later. But no, but at the same time, you hear that enough, and sooner or later you go, man, maybe there's something there, And again, it may not be podcast, it may not be social, it may not be Twitter, it may not be. Maybe it's again changing oil in a car. If people say, man, you're really good at working in a car, there's something to that. Yeah. Just find what it is that God created you for, because He created every one of us for something. Mm-hmm. It took me 51 years, apparently, to find out what I was kind of good at, and here we are. All that to say, but be smart. Yeah. Be smart. Be intentional. Test it. Test the waters. Yeah. Put a toe in the water. See what go to the people that not are just going to tell you what you want to hear, but the people that are going to tell you what you need to hear. Yeah. And sometimes it's someone like Austin, who I've never met before, that takes an hour phone call for us to just chop it up, and for me to cast vision, and for you who doesn't even know me to say, do it. Yeah. I think you're on the right path. Anyway, that's a small asterisk, but I think people should really, if they're listening to us, yes, we've found success. And again, we haven't found the pot of gold. Yeah, we're working every day to achieve hopefully. But at the same time, we have found a sweet spot in life. Yeah. I think that's fair to say.
And to follow up on that, following your dream doesn't mean you have to start your own business. That is, not what that means. For some people it is. But not for everyone. And so that is also not what I'm saying, but just to not be scared of taking a step in that direction. Like you said, put your toe in the water, see what happens. Talk to people about it, gauge people's curiosity. But don't just keep letting it sit there and be someday, right? Because that someday will never come. But yes, obviously be wise. Don't throw things away, but you never know what'll happen. I mean, I know when I started my company, my goal was just I just needed for my family to replace my salary at a nonprofit. Yes. And it was not very big. And that happened quicker than I expected it to. And after that, it's cool to see the potential, because now I'm able to support other people's families and to help other people kind of step into this space. And I would not have been able to if I didn't say yes to the journey. And so there is kind of it's that balance, right? You never know what to expect, but you got to be intentional about it. And kind of walking that line.
I love it. You and I could talk all day, literally. Yes. I think, and I hope people would find it entertaining. That's kind of the world we're in. But no, I know we need to wrap. All the links again, because again, I want people to hear this. If you're listening to this right now and you're looking for content creation or any of the things we've talked about, go to Austin's website. Because this isn't about competition. Honestly, he's experienced, he's wonderful, and he's been supportive of me. And by supporting him, you're going to support me. Just because he's been a mentor, and I want to do that. So let's go through all the links again. If someone's listening today and they say, I think someone's connected with me, I want to find out more about content creation or all those things, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah. Well, let me throw that back on you of I hear what you're saying, but people can also support you. It's okay. We're doing fine over here. But if you connect, it's kind of one of those things if you connect better with what Aaron, is doing and is talking to, reach out to them. Some people will connect better with what I'm saying, and that's totally fine. And I've helped 2 other people start content marketing agencies as well over the past year. And so really I've just created business competition for myself, but I think it's fun because it is, we all have our differing perspectives. And I've told you, Aaron, that you don't sell, content, right? That's what you guys do, but you sell, you sell connection, you sell, the encouragement, you sell the potential of just how your brain works. Right. And so, for us, we're selling that in a different way of just helping people kind of connect with their audience. And so anyways, my website is savagecontent.co. That's kind of the main place. And yours is myunscripted.com, right?
It is.
So that's a good one too.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate you, bro. Yeah. SavageContent.co. Both two collectives.
Yes.
I haven't rebranded yet, but two collectives, and honestly, just a wonderful man. If somebody wanted to contact you personally, not your cell phone number, we won't give that out today, but how can they email you or contact you? Or is it best to just go through the website?
Yeah, you can go through the website. There's a form there that you can submit, but even if you want to email me, it's austin@savagecontent.co as well. Super easy, and happy to connect with you as well. But ultimately, like, my biggest thing is that you have potential with your life. And if I can throw just one more thing out there, is that your age is not a weakness as well. I know we kind of like joked about that a little bit. But like, I'm a 25-year-old who had some influence on you. And
Absolutely.
you know, that's
big, huge.
That's cool to me. And I have mentors in my life who are older than you are, Aaron, who have built also like marketing agencies that I respect, and they speak into my life. And none of that has to, like, your age does not have to be a barrier. Like, if you are older, that does not mean that you are too late to start doing something new or something fresh with your life. And if you're younger, like, you are not too early, or you're not too inexperienced to do something meaningful with your life. Like, listen to people's voices, leverage the older voices and the younger voices in your life. But your age is not a weakness, and you have what it takes to do some really cool things. So those are my two big things.
You're the best. Literally, that was a mic drop. That was a mic drop. All right, you got a bathroom to go check on because they're working on it at your house. I have a dog that I need to go check on because he's been barking. Cool. And welcome to Content Creation 101 from our homes. Man, I appreciate you. I'm so thankful that our friend Rachel Wojo connected us, and I'm thankful for your mentorship, your leadership in my life, your patience as we've had to get this to try to record this today. But I hope people find it inspiring and hopeful. You know, we're in a world that's just nuts. Who knows who knows what tomorrow is going to bring? You said it earlier. Don't waste time. Yeah. You know, God's gifted you for something. Don't leave your job if that doesn't mean what it's going to be. If you're good at knitting, then knit stuff for people. Totally. I don't know. You know, if you're good at oil changes, then do them in your garage. I don't know who we're reaching today, but just do it. You know, do it. Our time's limited. God gifted you. Use it. Doesn't mean you start your own business. I thought you said that so well. Yeah. Doesn't, if it means start your own business, then start your own business. Change the world. But change the world with your circle of influence, your village, your giftedness. God has gifted you. Use it. And I think Austin would agree. Yeah. That's all we're trying to say today.
I love it. Dude, it's some good stuff. Keep on keeping on, man. It's good.
Well, we're going to do this again. We'll do. I think we'll do multiple of these because you're the best, man. You're the salt of the earth, and I'm thankful for your friendship and your mentorship in my life.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having the bravery to reach out 6 months ago, and it's been fun to just see your journey unfold, man. So I'm cheering you on, and excited to see what's ahead.
Same for you, brother. We will talk soon. Thanks so much.
Love it.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Unscripted Podcast with your host, Aaron Conrad. Make sure to like, share, follow, and review on your favorite podcast platforms. Also, make sure to check out my song Great and Mighty One on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you find your music. We'll see you next time on Unscripted with Aaron Conrad.